I'm Tim Roble, and this is Garage Customs. I'd like to take a quick minute and say Happy New Year, Happy 2012, and we'll reflect back real quick and kind of tell you where we started in 2011 with the Garage Customs R&D Prototype Lab, and how it's evolved to where we are now. For 2012, we've brought on two new title sponsors, Longevity Welding and GripAce Digital Grip Switch Systems. Two great companies to work with, and throw a special shout out to Simon at Longevity and Tim over at GripAce. It's been great to work with you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my wife Kimberly for her support and being able for all of this to be possible. So thank you all, and kind of tell you where we're heading in 2012. I'll try to touch on this at least one show a month. I'm pretty busy on my schedule right now. I have thrown my name in the hat to race the 2012 King of the Hammers, King of the Motos. With the King of the Motos, it's an invite only. They're only taking 20 riders, $10,000 purse for the country's most extreme enduro. They're talking about trying to make it the hardest extreme enduro in the world, something that would rival Erzberg Rodeo, Red Bull Romaniacs, Roof of Africa. Anyway, I thought I would take you through my little journey right now on what I'm doing to prep a bike for this event. It's going to be at least 65 miles. They're saying 10 to 12 miles of extreme rock hammer trails. And they're even going to throw in a couple more obstacles for us to add to the ultimate enduro endurance race. So I'll take you through the process of what I'm doing to build a bike and to make it more trials friendly. I wanted to first talk about the aspect of what makes a trials bike versus an enduro bike, and then how to transform, or why we'd want to transform one or the other. I've ridden a lot of the hammer trails on my trials bike, and those trails are no joke. Probably a very unique rock structure, maybe something that doesn't even exist in the rest of the world. What makes it unique is a decomposed granite, and that's not what's unique about it. It's you've had car after car, year after year, that's come through and has kind of polished these rocks to almost like a polished marble, and then they've drug sand and silt down on top of the rock, so it makes for a very, very slippery, tough to get over obstacles. My first thoughts on how to change up a bike is the first thing I wanted to do is start working on a different foot peg location. So of course I got online, started doing research on who made the different pegs that could be mounted in a low and back position. I found the Fastway foot pegs. They allow you to mount the pegs 1/2 inch lower and 1/2 inch back, or you can put them in the standard position. I was looking through my calculations. I was looking more at I wanted one in one. Doesn't look possible. I'm not willing to cut the mounts off the bike and kind of reposition some things. If I felt it was that critical, I would definitely do that. But I'm sure some of the top guys in the world that are coming out, David Knight, Teddy Blaziziak, or name a few, Kyle Redmond, you know, they're going to be riding pretty much their equipment, their factory equipment, and their foot pegs are going to pretty much be in the same place as a factory bike. But here again, I'm kind of the underdog coming in, so what I've done is kind of taken my R&D, kind of what I do for my job now is making products better. So I'm looking at how to take this 2004 KTM 450, bike only has 201 miles on it, and how do I transform that to make it work better in the rocks, and then still able to hammer out in the desert, meaning that we only have 10 to 12 miles of rocks in this race. What I'm looking at is I still need a top speed, probably 65, 70, and that's pretty fast through the rough stuff. And hopefully they don't take us across a dry lake bed where, you know, we could top out at 100, 105, 120. So what I'm working on right now is foot pegs, and show you what I'm doing to get an extra 1/4 of an inch out of the foot pegs to put them in a little bit lower position. So we need 3/4 low and 1/2 inch back. Okay, as you can see, I have my foot peg mounted up in the vise. I've already made 2 passes. I'm doing about 35 thousandths a pass. Composition of these foot pegs is made out of stainless steel. So with stainless, we want to keep in mind, we want to keep our feed rates so we're not putting a whole lot of heat in that material when we're machining it, trying to heat harden it or work harden the material. So I'm taking light passes, about 35 thousandths, and I'm doing relatively slow. Taken 250 thousandths off this foot peg, and I've taken a number 21 drill bit and I've drilled through so it's actually passed all the way through, and then I run a 1032 tap. These little cleats are a 1032 thread, so they just thread down into it. Remember, when you're going to drill or machine stainless, that it's heavy feed, slow speed. And it's a good way to remember it. That way you don't work harden it. If you were to drill these holes really fast, it would be a really bear to be able to run a tap through it and get this get threads in there. So just keep that in mind. A few more of the things that I looked at on the bike. Here again, we're trying to do a blend in between an enduro and a trials bike. We're still trying to be able to have a bike that is as lightweight as possible, as tough and protected as possible, and still able to float through the sections. So here again, I analyzed what do we need to do to this bike, and selected trials tires. I'm running trials tires front and rear, and I've chosen to put the ultra heavy duty tubes in both ends. Another thing that I wanted to address was, here again, how's a trials bike able to go slow in sections? Why it's able to go slow is because of its internal and external gearing. Being that I don't want to get into any internal gearing on the bike, external is easy enough of just buying a selection of sprockets. I've chosen a 52 for the rear, one of the cool KTM parts that's a aluminum. It's probably a 6061 T6 intersection with a outer that's steel, so it lightens the weight and still gives you a lot of longevity for the teeth on the sprocket. Also chose the TM Designs lower chain guide. What this is going to do is it's going to keep in, if you can kind of look close on this one, it's spent some time in the rocks and it's gotten bent up, and the stock aluminum version actually pushed into the sprocket and has worn just a little bit of rub on the sprocket. So with the new TM Designs, we won't have that issue. It'll flex and come back into place where it needs to be and still keep our chain from derailing. For the chain, I tend to always buy one of the best chains on the market. I don't have a specific brand. I usually look for tensile strength and toughness on the chain. Here again, something that you're trying to put the power to the ground with, you don't want to cheap out on. For the front countershaft sprockets, I've selected a 13, 14, and a 15. That way it'll allow me to kind of fine-tune my top speed and my low end as I see fit out there for the event. I will be attending the event about a week early, doing a lot of pre-run time out there now, spending time on the trials bike, and trying to keep this one protected in the best shape I can for race day. So I will do a lot of training on the trials bike, and then I'll transition to this a few days out and get it all dialed in. Another thing that I've selected would be the Enduro Engineering radiator guards, and I've opted to go with because of the slow speeds and we're not going to be pushing that much air through the radiators, that I did opt to go with the cooling fan. One more thing, skid plate is a must, at least for me. In trials, I use the skid plate a lot to get up on an obstacle, hang up, and then transition over. Trial skid plates usually have a louvered or a bump in here, which will allow you actually to jump up and land on an obstacle and it'll catch on the skid plate, and that'll allow you to rotate the bike or get stuck up there. So what I will be doing is I'll be taking our Longevity 200DX welder TIG machine, and I will TIG in a couple strips across here to work as like a louver so I can hang up on the rock and transition over. So that's about it for now. I'll take you through the process and keep you guys updated. Alright, as you can see, I got a few good tacks on it. Welding this with the Longevity 200DX with the water cooler. I've set my torch up with 1/8 inch, 2% serrated tungsten. I'm welding on this about right about 180 amps, and I got my AC balance tuned to about 40%, and my frequency I got it kind of buzzing up around 230. What I'll do is I'll come in here and I'm gonna, while I got heat in the material, I'm gonna lay a second pass in here just so we have more of a ramp area in here to transfer when I hit something, to transfer up and over, and so it can get lodged on it. I'm Tim Roble. This is Garage Customs. Thanks for watching. Now get out in the garage and go do something.